Hey y'all, happy Sunday evening. Just wanted to get on live because I have some stuff that I want to reflect on. And I know the new year is right around the corner. And my favorite thing about the new year is like always looking forward to something new, literally new. And or redoing things, doing things in a new way. So I wanted to get on live and do like a reflection of that. But first I gotta show y'all something so cool. I made my own post-its with my logo for Books by Zayana. And I have the QR codes for my YouTube channel, my Dating with a Diagnosis group on Facebook, and my blog. So they're post-it notes, see there. And I'm excited about that because I love sticky notes. I love anything stationery. If you ever want to get me a gift, get me a notebook, some pens, some papers, anything like that. Post-it notes. I love it. But anyway, let me put this away. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about that I'm looking forward to for the new year. And one of the things is I'm looking forward to continuing my journey with learning Spanish. I want to be very adequate with my Spanish. First of all, if you don't know, my family's from Honduras and they speak Spanish and we speak English as well, but the predominant language for Honduran people is Spanish. And little story, fun fact about me, actually my first language was Spanish when I was a kid. Because while my mother was on drugs, my papa, he took care of me. He only spoke Spanish to me. So from the time I learned to talk to about 4 or 5 years old, I spoke Spanish. And I spoke like a little bit of English or whatever. But what happened was I had a traumatic brain injury. And my papa got himself into some trouble and stuff like that. So he had to go away. And I was living with my mother and she was taking care of me full time. And when I had to relearn to speak because of the traumatic brain injury I had at 4 years old, they taught me English, So, so that's a fun fact. So Spanish is originally my first language. So I have no problem with like dialect and speaking it and learning it and understanding it really. But when I'm not practicing, and then like through my teens, like I used to sing songs in Spanish, like all the reggaeton songs and everything, like I knew it in Spanish. And but the problem is, it's like I don't have the community base to practice it as often as I need to retain it in my, in my brain, in order to use it effectively in day-to-day life. I don't really have that union around me. So I have my grandmother who speaks a little bit to me here and there. My family, now that we have technology, I could talk to my family in Honduras and practice my Spanish that way. So there's that. The reason why I want to learn and practice my Spanish is because, first of all, it's my legacy. And I want to make my grandmother proud. And my papa passed away a couple years ago during Father's Day weekend. And he was in Honduras. I was not able to participate in his funeral because I live up here and it would have took a lot of money to go down there. And so I gave the money that I saved to travel down there to be with him. I gave that money to bury him. I know I'm like going kind of like all over the place a little bit, but follow me here. So it's my legacy to learn Spanish, and it's part of my inheritance. You know what I mean? My heritage and my inheritance. Like when my family, when everybody passes on and moves on, like I want to be able to have a space in my heart for Honduras and be able to go down there and speak the language and be effective in it. I want to make my family proud. I want to make my grandmother proud. I want to make my grandfather proud. And as they see me on this journey, learning and practicing my Spanish, and I want them to know that I take it very seriously. And I always have. I just, the tools that I'm using, I have subtitles on Netflix. I have books. I haven't gotten into the books. I mean, I kind of like looked at them, but I've had them for years. They're workbooks and study books. I really need to practice my verbs. So that's an issue that I have, is verbs and knowing like when to say a, o, a, or when to say ames, hijo, So like I need to practice my verbs. I have YouTube. I use YouTube. I use a sleeping, learn Spanish while you sleep. I try to do it as much as often, but I really do be forgetting sometimes. And another thing I have is my fiance. He's learning by work. He's learning. So I have books, I have YouTube, I have subtitles, I have family. So I feel like this is an achievable goal. This is a smart goal. This is something that I can achieve within my lifetime. I don't care if it takes me 10 years to be adequate in Spanish. I don't want it to take that long, but I mean, like, even if it does take 10 years, like, I just really need to do that for me. So I have that, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to learn and practice and be effective in it, because I mean, maybe the pressure is something I'm putting on myself, you know, but I just, sometimes I feel bad that, you know, like, this is part of my legacy, and it's a shame I don't know, but it's not my fault either, you know, like, that I don't know, you know, but I feel like it is on me to learn and to practice and to take it very seriously. So there's that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Something else I'm going to be doing during the new year. The other thing I want to talk about is dating with a diagnosis. So in the beginning of dating with a diagnosis, we were doing very structured vlogs, and sometimes we would do rants and, you know, little things that we would do. But I really do like the structured vlogs and stuff, but I don't always want to have to research to get on here and share a message, because sometimes it's not about what other people are saying in an article about something. It's not about other videos I've watched or things like that. So sometimes I get on here and I just do my own thing, and that's just part of me showing you guys what I'm processing through. Like, for example, in 2023, like towards the end of 2023, I was showing you guys how I was disconnecting myself from unhealthy toxic relationships and trauma bonding. And they weren't really toxic relationships, they just like weren't the relationships that I needed to be in. And for the fact that it wasn't the relationship that I needed to be in, I wanted to grow out of them. So I spent a lot of time just kind of doing rants. But I feel like they were very good perspectives. I made a lot of clips from them of like highlights of important things that just came to me naturally. And so there's that with dating with a diagnosis. So that's how it really was in the beginning. And then I kind of got a little laid back and stuff like that. So there's that. I want dating with a diagnosis to be very successful. I want my name all over it. First of all, I copywritten it as a literary work. Welcome, viewers. So I copywritten dating with a diagnosis as a literary work, and everything that I do within it is based on literary. I have a curriculum that's going well, which includes a chapbook and a curriculum for a workshop part of the series. I have the Facebook group, which is great. I mean, that's the most successful part of the dating with a diagnosis, is the Facebook group. Okay, so there's that. I can't believe I have like 340 something members. So let me say this. First of all, I want to thank everybody. Like, I really do want to thank those of you who do support me from the bottom of my heart. I swear, you're not going unnoticed. And like, I literally can name everybody who I know supports me wholeheartedly and respects the grind and has been supportive since the beginning. Like I said before, I started dating with a diagnosis in 2017, and I copywrote it in 2021 and published it as, I started the Facebook group and started putting out content in 2021 for it. So I do thank you guys. I really do, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only person in the crowd cheering for myself. And I know you guys support me through like a second point of view or third point of view sometimes. Like, you guys are not really in the background with me behind the scenes working on it, but you're in the front row cheering for me and hitting like and commenting on my posts and things like that. And I very much appreciate that. And I never want you guys to think that you go unnoticed when I feel like I'm not, engaging as much. I want it to be successful. First of all, dating with a diagnosis is important to me because it's part of my lived experience. Like, I was a serial dater growing up. I was boy crazy, girl crazy. I was like in it. I was like on every dating app. I kid you not. Like, I was on every dating app. I was on the phone on hotlines. Like, I was like always looking for love in all the wrong places. And I wasn't necessarily looking for love because, I had opportunities where I was engaged. The first time I ever got proposed to, I was 17 years old. And me and the guy never even did anything together. And he proposed to me, and I knew I wasn't gonna marry him. I just thought the ring was cute, and we were like very much closer as friends than we were. Hi, Kendra. We were very much closer as friends than we were as partners. We were working together. Actually, let me be clear with you. We were trapping. Okay, and this man proposed to me after knowing him for like 6 months and hustling with him in the streets and becoming successful within 6 months. Like, it was crazy. And not just that, I was proposed to on another occasion and things like that. And like, I mean, my whole thing was, and then I had guys who wanted to have children with me and tried to get me pregnant, and I call it trying to trap me. But my thing was is I needed somebody who was going to be patient enough for me to learn myself. I always knew from the time as being a serial date, like, I was just having fun. I was just exploring. I was just thoughting and bopping. Like, I just wanted to be able to be myself, find myself, and I knew something wasn't right with me up here, like emotionally and psychologically. Like, something just wasn't clicking for me, and I didn't want to drag anybody down with me. And the problem there was, a lot of these guys didn't just wait. Like, they just went off, stepped off. Like, okay, fine, do you, because I'm going to do me, So, do you. And they went off and they had children with other women and it didn't work out. And they would come back to me and be all, like, I want you, I want you, I want you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I can't give you all of that right now. So right here where I am with dating with a diagnosis, it's my lived experience. Like, I literally have a lot more experience with dating and socializing more than a lot of people. Like, I used to be a social butterfly. I used to host parties at my house, even like dating parties at my house. I used to link people together and stuff like that, all sorts of things. So this is my lived experience. I don't have like a clinician, degree in relationships or nothing like that. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or a licensed counselor, nothing like that. This is my lived experience. And then also, like, even when relationships have to end, it doesn't mean it was unsuccessful. Sometimes a successful relationship has to end for it to be considered successful. Okay, so I'm in the relationship now that I need to be in. I am engaged. I am happy. Well, we are happy. And we've known each other. You guys know that story. We've known each other since we were 15 and 17 years old. We gave each other a lot of time and space. He's the only guy that ever, like I feel like took his time and waited for me. I mean, then he stepped off. We know that part, right? He stepped off and I waited for him, and sometimes the best way to see people is when they don't know that you're even looking at them. So, tried and tested and true in life and love, right? So the other thing is, with dating with a diagnosis, you guys have to understand that I'm doing this on my own. Like, I don't have somebody to step in for me with the It's Complicated group if I am unavailable on Tuesdays, which is it really bothers me that if I can't make it on a Tuesday suddenly, that I can text the people, the regulars that come to group and say, hey, we're not having a group, but what about the newcomers that are coming looking for support? And I'm not there and I don't have a second person to step in for me. So that's something I need to work on in the new year, is finding a trusted person to fill in for me, especially as last minute things happen, because I have grandparents that I have to take care of. I'm taking care of my older sister. I'm taking care of my mother. I'm taking care of my fiance. And, I'm taking care of myself as well. So people have to understand that I'm doing this all on my own. I always have done it on my own. I mean, down to even my books, which we'll get there in a second. But because dating with a diagnosis is based on my perspective, I feel like God wants me to do it on my own so nobody can ever take it from me. And so that nobody can ever say it was because of them that it got to where it's going to be. And I know it's going to be successful because nobody was thinking about it when I was, working on it. Okay, so... But honestly, like, it hurts to not have help, not to have a machine behind me, not to have a team behind me. Like, if I could have it my way, I would have an efficient team of 2 or 3 people who, I could trust with my art and who would be efficient and follow. And, I mean, like, I would pay, I really would. But the kind of money that I could pay, nobody's really going to do the work that I need them to do with that type of thing going on. So there's that. But it hurts sometimes to not have help. I'm telling you, because it's like there's not enough time in the day. Like I said, I have to work, which is part of mental health. And, that ties in with dating with a diagnosis as well. I have to focus on my health, like my physical, and my mental health. I have to cook. I have to clean. Like I said, I have to take care of my mother, my sister, my fiance, and myself, there's not a lot of time in the day for me to sit there and always do research and do structured videos. But I still have to be obligated to produce content, and I feel like in the candid moments, like in the candid vlogs when I'm not taking notes and stuff like that, sometimes I'm dropping the best jewels, and I don't force myself to log on if I don't have anything to like contribute in some way, or if I feel like I'm not going to be able to drop a jewel here and there. And then I go on YouTube and I download my videos off. I record them live, first of all, and I download my videos. So there's only one shot at this. I don't get to just record and upload and delete and re-record and re-record and then upload when it's perfect. I don't have the time really to do all of that. Like, it can't be perfect all the time. So that's one thing, and I think that's also an advantage of my content. It's like, it's live and I keep it real. So if I mess up live. If I fix it live, stuff like that. So what people don't understand is like, I do the writing myself, I do the research myself, I do the editing myself, I do the recording myself, I pay for whatever supplies and stuff that I need. I do all of this on my own. You may see other people ahead of me in the game, and the only reason why you see them ahead of me in the game is because they roll in packs. Like, I'm literally doing this on my own, and I feel like what's the messed up part about it is I don't get enough credit for what I do on my own. For example, my books. Like, my books, I used to try to pay people, graphic designers, to do covers, like people I grew up with, people who I thought were supportive of my art. Hello, viewer. People who I thought were supportive of my art. And the problem was, they would always say, yeah, I'll help you. And, I'd be like, okay, well, I'll pay you $200 for the book cover, or I'll pay you $400, or whatever their price was, I would pay them. And for some reason, they would just fall off the grid, or start drama with me, or not follow through on their end, and things like that. So I'm like, okay, so what is it? Is it that you think because you don't do my book cover, my book is not going to come out? Like, you would be surprised how many people be hating on you. You really would be. You would be surprised how many people are hating on you and don't want to see you succeed. And that's how I took it in the back in the day. I'm like, they don't want to see me publish a book. And I published 3 books without a book cover. Okay? And they were successful to me because anybody who did read it understood. And the people who judged the book by its cover, then that book is not for you. If you want to sit there and be shallow and judge my message because the book cover was not created and it's a solid color and I had to do what I had to do to get my message out, then, it's not for you. It's going to go right over your head. If you still in the game and you judging books by its covers, God forgive you, because that's not how it works. That's the oldest saying in the book. Never judge a book by its cover. So there's that. I had people tell me, oh, like, why your book cover look like that, and you should have got this done, and like, if I show them my book, and I'd be like, oh, hey, look, I wrote this, and, it's got, like, 30 pages of poems and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, well, why didn't you do your book cover, and do this, and then I said, well, I tried, and people weren't trying to help me, so I figured it out on my own, and I published it on my own, because I wasn't going to wait for them. The only person I wait on is God in the universe. And instead of a person acknowledging that, 1, I wrote this myself, 2, I edited myself, 3, I formatted myself, and 5, I published it myself. Instead of them recognizing how intense, like how much I put into it, they got something negative to say. And to me, that is a hater. That is the definition of a hater. But hey, if they're gonna hate, let them hate. I ain't got no problem with that. But it just makes you look like a hater. Who wants to look like a hater? I don't know, but they say it and they do it. And like, for me, half the time, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just go with the flow. Like, I figure it out as I go. Like, I had to learn how to upload my videos from Facebook to YouTube. So I had to download it from Facebook, just so people who may need to know. I do it live on Facebook. I download it from Facebook to my phone or to my email address, and then I upload it to YouTube, and I have to do all the captions and all the like things, and then I have to upload it multiple times in order to clip certain parts. I have to time it. I have to rewatch it. I have to study what I'm saying in those videos and make it make sense as a whole. This is my art. I am a creator. I am authentic. I am an original, and you're not going to find many of that in the world. So there's that. Like, I literally completely gave up on hoping that other people could, help me in any type of way. Because, like I said, God wants me to do this on my own, and the universe wants me to do this on my own, so nobody could ever try to take it from me. And I'm proud of how far it's come along. I'm grateful for, like I said, the support that I do have from my peers that are online who say, yeah, you go girl, that's beautiful, we love that and heart that, and do Wellness Wednesdays and does Fearless Fridays and does Moody Mondays and Thoughtful Thursdays. I'm appreciative of everybody who contributes in that way. I think the most successful part of this experiment, it might as well be called an experiment because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going along with it, is that I'm seeing what people want and where it's most effective. Like my It's Complicated support group on Tuesdays, I'm not gonna lie, it's not high numbers. In the beginning I used to have like at least 12 guests, 12 members participating in the group. And as I went forward with it, like sometimes people are there, sometimes they can't make it, and sometimes there's nobody there, but I show up anyway and prepped and prepared to do what I have to do as far as to provide relationship-based support. And this is not about just intimate relationships. Remember, this is about family relationship. I come from a dysfunctional family, so that just ties right back into my lived experience with relationships. Okay, so there's that. So I think I touched on that. So now the whole thing is like, this is what I'm looking forward into the new year. I have some new content ideas that are already like ready. It's just I have to put the face and the voice behind the actual vibe, like the actual activity and things like that I'm going to share. And I just want to prepare y'all for that. And I hope you guys get excited. And I hope it does grow the support system that I have. I'm trying to make new friends in new ways online. And I look forward to that too, actually. Like, I wonder, like, what kind of people, what kind of friends I can make online that will follow my content and support my content. And not just support it, but relate to it and learn something and take something from it and give back by sharing their experiences and perspectives on whatever it is that I bring to the table or whatever it is that I trigger in their thought process. And, I just really want that for my project. I want the respect that it deserves. Like, I am holding it down. Like, I've been holding it down since 2017. And I promise you guys I won't give up because it gets draining, having to go to work. And, I'm also signing up for other classes. That's the other thing. Like, my recovery, like my physical and my mental health recovery, I'm doubling down on it, and like I'm trying to really step into the new life and step into the new light that is in front of me. Like, I've come a long way already, but I feel like there's some tweaking that I can actually do to make things better for me, and I look forward to that, and I will continue to share that with you all as well, that journey. I always said that I wanted people to grow with me as I evolve and grow in this process on live, broadcasting my most vulnerable moments and my most vulnerable ideas and things that I could keep to myself. But, I feel like it deserves to be shared to the world. My friend posted the other day, my colleague posted the other day online, she said I was dying in silence, so I decided to live out loud. And I feel like that's the biggest part of what I feel and can relate to. Like, I used to hold things in and even hide my creativity and hide my, my talents and stuff like that, because I didn't want people to hate on me. I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't, I was kind of shy about it, and I didn't think I was good enough, or whatever the case may have, you being insecure. All of those things comes with us, because as artists, we are our worst critics. And we have to step out of that sometimes. Like, sometimes being our worst critic is the thing that motivates us and pushes us forward. But sometimes being our worst critic is the thing that holds us back. And we have to be very careful about that. You want to, give yourself a chance. Even if you don't like it, it may help and heal somebody else. It may, resonate with somebody else. It's not always about you. Art is meant to be shared. I always felt that. And I feel like art should be free. And remember that what's going on in the new millennium when people were downloading music and things like that. And some people were like, well, music and art should be free. Like, we shouldn't have to pay $21 or $15 or $13 for an album. And, so there was that. But I'm one of those people. I feel like art should be free. I never sold my art, like my books even. I give them away. I don't sell Bibles. Don't do that. It's like, and that's how I that's how I refer to my books, as my Bibles, because they're my confessions. It's part of my spirit, lives in my books, lives in my stories. That's my spirit. That is a Bible. So there's that. So this is not a rant. This is just giving you guys perspective on my true story and things to look forward to in the new year from me and my content. I write every day, but, I want to do more journaling and stuff like that. And sometimes it's hard to find the right prompts to get to go through and follow through with that. But I do take notes on, like, a lot of my lives sometimes. When they're not random. So like this one was one that I just wanted to get off my chest because I had nobody really to talk to about it. So I need to talk to my portal and, delve within myself and do it that way. But the whole thing about 2026 for me is going to be honing in on my legacy and taking back what I gave away from myself. If that makes sense. So what I mean by what I gave away from myself is like things that I gave up on. Welcome, viewer. Things that I gave up on and said, oh no, I can't do this. This is too hard, or I don't have enough support, and this is not going to work, and this is so hard, and I just can't do it on my own. And, those thinking that I had in the past. I took those opportunities away from me. I should have continued my Spanish, practicing my Spanish when I was in my teens, and I would have been fluent by now. But I really honestly didn't have the resources that I needed to continue to grow that, and sometimes we have to make a way when there is no way, and the universe will help you do that too. The universe will help you make a way when there is no way. You know what I mean? So there's that. Take a beat. So the other thing that the last part of this is, like I said, I want to go back to where I was talking about my health and my recovery. And I mean my physical health and my mental health and my recovery. And the thing is that I told you guys this already, that I've been getting sick with food. Like, food has been I've been very intolerable. And it's not the diabetic medication or anything like that, because I've had this issue in the past before I was diagnosed with diabetes. Okay. I also had diabetes in 2017 and I reversed it in 2017 as well. So, yay, and thank God for that. And so, but it did come back after I had my surgery. So I'm trying to, and I've been on medication since I was a child. I've been on very heavy medication since I was 4 years old. I had to kick codeine at 6 years old. Like, it was bad. I was on a lot of steroids. I had very bad allergies on top of the brain injury. I was allergic to a lot of things, and anything would send me straight to the emergency room. I was in the emergency room, I kid you not, every week. When I went to school, I would come home with a flare-up, and my mother would have to rush me to the emergency room. And I lived in Children's Hospital. Welcome, viewer. So, my health for me, and there was a part of me when I was dealing with self-harm where I didn't care about my health. I used to be very active. Yeah, some of you guys might remember me mentioning this. I used to be very active. I used to run 6 miles a day. I used to run 3 miles one way and 3 miles back. Another thing I used to do was gymnastics. I was really good at that. I did that for about a year and a half. I was part of a crumping dance crew. I did that for 2 years. I was I did self-defense in martial arts. I did that for from the time I was in middle school, and I took a course in high school, and I took a course as an adult. And all those things like being physical, was good for me. But once I got the nerve damage because of the self-harm, it hindered me and set me back physically. So now it's like I can't help my health by physical activity. So what I have to do is eat right. And I take so much medication that I'm afraid that I'll end up on dialysis by the time I'm 40 if I don't do anything about that. And, that's not fair to my body, and that's not fair to my life. I actually value my life now. Well, I value it a little bit more than I used to. I'm not going to say I fully all the way. I'm not going to say I don't have those thoughts still of self-harm and things like that. I do. When things get really hard, I do think about it, but I wouldn't act on it as I used to. I would act on it. But now I've gotten to a point where I don't, even try to do that to myself or the people I love. So there's that. So I'm trying to figure out what I can and cannot eat, what I can and cannot tolerate. And if I do have something against, say for example, if I eat something and I have a bad reaction, I'm on point now where I know what I can have to combat that. So say for example, tonight, I have made ground turkey meat spaghetti and tortellinis for me and my family, and I made it with ground turkey because the last time I made ground beef spaghetti, I ate it and I had 2 plates. Oh my god, it was so good, but I got really, really, really sick, and I know it was because of the red meat. However, during Thanksgiving, I was able to eat turkey neck bones and I had no reaction. So I said, okay, let me try ground turkey tonight for spaghetti, and I'm gonna try it and see if I could tolerate it, because I still have to eat something, even though I fast about 3 days out of the week. That part, I think, is part of the diabetic medication, welcome viewer, to be fasting 3 days out of the week. So, with that being said, it's I know how to eat right. I know what foods are what and what's good for me and what's not. And then I'm still learning some more, in the physical and chronic pain. So all this ties into having to manage so many things on my own without people who can help me, literally help me, and it takes a lot of time, so I just need y'all to be patient with me. I need you guys to continue to support me because I really appreciate the love. I really need that. If I can't have anything else, at least I have the support of those that I do have the support of. I feel so many times in my life where I feel people wanted me to give up or people thought I couldn't do it, I pushed through and I made it happen like it happened. And when I say I'm not going to give up, I mean can't stop, won't stop. Every time I feel damn, I can't do this, I don't got time for this. This is what it is. No tengo tiempo. I don't have time. And I find a way to make a little bit of time to kind of work on one thing at a time. And I feel can't stop, won't stop. I'm a bad girl. For life. You know what I mean? And that's paying homage to my nephew, rest in heaven, Traquel Henry Wilson. He used to tell me that all the time. I can't stop, won't stop, auntie. I'm a bad boy. So I said, okay, I'm a bad girl. And I miss him. Losing people as well is another thing that I'm dealing with. Losing people and having to face grief. So I'm going to end it here. I just wanted you guys to know that I appreciate the love. I wanted to give you guys perspective on what's taking so long. I wanted to give you guys perspective on what's working and what's not. And I wanted to give you guys perspective on what to look forward to in the new year, 2026. Not just my wedding, okay? So, there's other things going on in my craft. And I'm telling you, it's not easy, but I'm not going to give up. All right? So, one more time, I want to show you guys my new creation. I created my own post-it notes. See, it says Books by Zayana, which is my logo. And then I have my barcodes, my QR codes for my Bee in the Bonnet blog. I have my Dana with a Diagnosis Facebook group. And I have my Dana with a Diagnosis YouTube channel. Please do like go to the YouTube channel and watch some clips and subscribe, because I really want to be able to have both channels popping, because YouTube is where you're going to find the clips, the shortened versions of the longer videos. Okay, so yeah, I want everybody to have a peaceful, restful night. I'm going to watch this over, and I'm going to make timestamps, and I'm going to clip when I get a chance and post this to YouTube as well. So, good night. And I hope everybody's preparing for the new year in their own way.